Reason and 10 Elude didn't make the field. And the 9th, the 4th and final South Island Championship qualifying race, 9 Jumping JJ and 10 Raffia are out. And in race 10, late scratching here, the Mainland Sprint, and it's an important scratching, especially for pick 6, number 1 Conway Hills, that has been scratched at the kennels today with a toe problem, so there you go. Pick 6 today, as I mentioned, race number 5 kicks off pick 6 at 10 past 4, guaranteed pool of $50,000, could go beyond that as well, so well and truly worth having a crack at. And all important in your pick 6 selections, we've got Chris McDonald's selections there, and we're going to talk to Chris later in the card, and we'll get back to those pick 6 selections as we go to Chris later in the card, just after race number 4 as we do our pick 6 preview. Well, with about 4.5 minutes to go to race number 1, joining me trackside is Gail Robinson, who's a part owner of a greyhound in this particular race called Sweet Petite, races the greyhound with Don Robinson, husband. And you've also got in the last This Fashion coming out of box 3. So we'll look at that one first. This Fashion, race number 10, comes out of box number 3. And with some rich company, how do you think he'll go?
Well, he's certainly in with the big guns. We're not too optimistic about it, but if he jumps and gets clear on the first bend, I think he'll show up all right.
Possibly your best chance today of the two comes in this race with the Sweet Petite out of box number 6. It's an awkward box draw, and she's also been out for a wee while too, since January in fact. What's been the problem?
Well, she came into season in January. We gave her 3 months off and brought her back in, and then she sprained a toe, so we're back to square one again. So hopefully she'll come back all right.
And what about Fresh? How do you think she'll go?
Well, normally she does race good Fresh. Again, she just needs to jump the boxes, get clear on the first bend, and I think she'll have a good show.
Who do you think are the toughest to beat in the first?
Oh, Little Sky, definitely, and perhaps Fake Jewel. I rather like him.
So numbers 1 and 3 selected by Gail as being the toughest to beat for Sweet Petite, number 6. And that race only a few minutes away now. We'll have a look at the box draws and the winning box statistics for the Christchurch Greyhound Racing Club so far this season, up to and including our last meeting here on the 9th of May, and 330 metres. You can see that number 1 is comfortably the best box with 28 wins of the 113 races so far. Second best box, number 2 with 19, and number 8 with 17, and they're far and away the better box draws over the 330 and the 560 metre races that come up later on. Once again, box 1's always handy to be in, 29.5 wins, and then boxes 2 and 8 with 20 wins, and the squeeze boxes fight out the rest. So that's the box winning statistics for the Christchurch Greyhound Racing Club. Updated market now on the first. Number 1 Little Skite, 220-135 remains the favourite. 2 China Made, 780 and 205. 3 Fake Jewel, 850, 185. 4 Carlissa Ray, 1625 and 355. That's big money. 5 Nose Wen, 895, 225. Number 6 is Sweet Petite, 780 and $2.10. 7 Lucy's Weed, 1160, 265, and 8 Supreme God at 640 and 245. Strategic investment for the day, an opportunity for you to be in the hunt. And for a small outlay too, all these strategic investments under $10, and 50-cent units we suggest in the first, and we're putting Fake Jewel on top, number 3, and he's at fair money too, 7 and 2 at this stage. For second, we'll throw in 1 Little Skite, 4 Carlissa Ray, which is the outsider, and 8 Supreme God, and we'll put the field in for third. And 50-cent units, that combination will only cost $9. Well, the favourite is Little Skite. She comes out of box number 1, hasn't in fact raced since April, but her last performance was a winning performance. It was in a Class 2 event, comes out of box 1. Let's have a look at Little Skite.
And racing. A good breakout by Honey's Return. A Little Skite is now accelerating through to take over the running, and round the outside coming into it is Keita Nose. Better trouble there. One went back very quickly, and that was Honey's Return. But around the bend they come, and Little Skite's the leader. Coming after it now is Keita Nose, and further back winding up there is Nose Wen, and wider still is China Pearl. They go to the post, but Little Skite won it. Nose Wen got home for second. Then China Pearl on the fence. Then double.
And there is Little Skite in picture, and you've just seen her winning her last race, which was back on April the 5th. So a bit of a break. She comes back fresh, but with box 1, it's always an advantage. 220-125 is quite a warm favourite. Denise Barron, the trainer, and that's Graham Barron handling Little Skite today from the inside. Second in that race that we've just watched was Nose Wen, and that greyhound comes out of box 5. Here it's at fancy odds too of $12.30 and $2.85. But Little Skite is the favourite, and with just about a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe, to go to the start. As we head round to the start now, 330 metres in association with the Eukanuba Super Premium Dog Food, the Eukanuba Greyhound Racing Service, taking you over to the start for race number 1. And we'll take a look at some of the other runners in this event. There's number 3, Strategic Investments, put Fake Jewel on top, 5:41.80, coming in for a bit of support now. And Fake Jewel's in pretty good form at the moment. Hasn't raced for 3 weeks almost, but his last start was a good third, a close third too, behind Coaster Boy and Micro Bolt here on the 9th of May. And prior to that, the week before, had been a convincing winner in a Class 2 race out of box 2. So Fake Jewel's in form, needs to jump of course. It's a very even field, Class 3 sprinters, and whoever wins the break obviously is going to be in the money, and Fake Jewel is capable of jumping in front, and if he does so he'll be hard to peg back. So number 3, Fake Jewel on top for the Strategic Investment today. Number 4 there in picture as Fake Jewel walks past is Carlissa Ray. Now she's the outsider of the field at $18.95 and $3.10, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not quite sure why, because her recent form is pretty good. Her last start was last week at Wellington, ran 4th up there over 520 metres, but prior to that had won a Class 2 race out of box 7 here at QE2 in most impressive fashion. Went 19.72 seconds on a rain-affected track, and it was a good performance. It's only 2 starts back, and I think you can excuse her for a 4th at Wellington, because she came out of box number 5 and she was back 6th and then 7th before running on for 4th. So Carlissa Ray, I know box 4 is not one you can fancy, as we've just seen in the winning box statistics, but at $18.95 and $3.10 she's well worth throwing in for the trifecta. Number 2 in the book is China Maid, honest performer from the Kingston Kennels at West Melton. Last start second was down at Invercargill behind Cool Cash over 457 metres back on the 15th of this month, and prior to that finished 8th here at QE2 on the 3rd of May, but drew awkwardly there at 6. And prior to that had drawn 4 here at QE2, and it got up for 3rd behind Ukulele Man. China Maid out of a better box today, box number 2, and a definite chance, no doubt about that. And it's $7.95 and $1.95 at this stage. Is about the 4th favourite in the betting. Little Sky $2 and $1.40, the latest money for the favourite. And we're waiting for the all clear for race number 1. Just a fraction behind time here, the Christchurch Greyhound Racing Club today. There's number 8, Supreme God, and thrown in for second in the Strategic Investment is Supreme God, 9.62.65. Last start 3rd down at Invercargill on May the 15th. That was behind Micro Bold. It was the reasonably fast time too, about the 3rd fastest time of the day over the 457 metres. It was a fairly good performance from Supreme God. Prior to that hasn't shown up in a couple of 330 metre races, but from box 8 could have the room to move today. He's got plenty of speed, and when he goes, he goes. Supreme God from the Ray Adcock Kennel. Shouldn't be too long before they come to the boxes. Slide hold up. Number 6 there is Sweet Petite, and we've talked about Sweet Petite with Gail Robinson today, and she rates a bit of a chance. Form looks good. Last 3 starts, 2 seconds and a 3rd, but they were back prior to Christmas, 2 of them, and last start 12th of January. Ran second behind Jenny's Mate, and Sweet Petite very capable, and we'll see how she goes fresh, but Gail's expecting a reasonable run. Box 6 is probably the problem, 8.92.40 the money for Sweet Petite. We've finally got the all clear through, so Greyhound's about to come forward. Don't forget later in the day we've got some sensational racing here. South Island Championship, 4 heats, races 6 through to 9 with some of the very best greyhounds in the country. We're looking forward to that. And of course, pick 6 starts 10 past 4 today on race number 5 through to 10. $50,000 guaranteed. Well worth a crack at pick 6, and we'll be helping you out with some selections throughout the day. Last few boxed away for the first, the West Coast Sprint, the Class 3 greyhounds over 330 metres. Favourite is One Little Skite, and the bunny in motion now. Round it comes towards the start, and with the call, here's Trevor Wilkes.
Ready. And racing, Little Sky flew out of the boxes, followed up by Sweet Petite. Raining through there is China Maid, getting around the outside is Lucy's Weed, and they're followed by Knows When, and back behind those they're bunching up a bit. Supreme God's got to run through, and further back there is the Fake Jewel. They swing for home now, and the leader Little Sky and charging up to China Maid. China Maid does the better. China Maid got there from Little Sky. Supreme God ran into 3rd, just ahead of the outside Fake Jewel, and they're followed by Knows When, back behind those Carlissa Ray, and Sweet Petite and Lucy's Weave were back towards the tail.
There we have race number 1, the West Coast Sprint. Number 2, China Maid, has outfinished the favourite. 2, China Maid, getting home to beat Little Skite. Let's have a look as they break on the replay. Little Skite absolutely flew out from number 1. Sweet Petite gets into its work early too. Number 6, Thrill on the inside, you can see China Maid. Out wider on the track there is Lucy's Weed, and wider still is Supreme God. Thrill on the inside, Fake Jewel missed the jump today, but drives Thrill on the inside and has his chance. Supreme God's well back at the moment. It's well back coming to the turn is Supreme God, but it rolls through nicely now. Up to the turn they come, the favourites in front, Little Skite by 2 lengths, but China Maid is chasing hard. About 3 or 4 away there, Fake Jewel, he goes wide, and coming underneath that greyhound is Supreme God, and they fight out for third. But up they come, it's Little Skite still in front, but China Maid getting the upper hand, the outside, and China Maid will go on to score race number 1 today. We'll pick it up at the line. China Maid, number 2's got there by about a length and a half. From number 1, Little Skite, favourite home second, tied third, looks like 8 the inside. Supreme God. 8 Supreme God ahead of 3 Fake Jewel. Let's have a look at the head on now. You can see Little Skite gets away very nicely. In the centre, well, there's not too much battering going on at this stage. Usually a bit of pushing and shoving there, but they're fairly clear. Little Skite's well clear at this stage, you can see. China Maid lying second, Sweet Petite out a wee bit wider on the track and trying to get in as Lucy's Weed. It's held out pretty wide, so it loses an extra couple of lengths there. Getting the runs through on the inside of 3 Fake Jewel and 8 Supreme God. Going wide there too was Knows When. And that pushed Lucy's Weed out even wider, so 7 Lucy's Weed, probably the unlucky runner if there was one in race number 1. Number 2, China Maid though, at the head of the field. Vicky Kingston doing the handling, and China Maid, a black bitch by This Nation out of Morley Girl, raced by Dave Kingston. Also Giovanni and Luigi Mollo from Wellington, trained by Dave and Vicky Kingston at West Melton. We'll have the result through of race number 1 as soon as they come to hand, but in the meantime, race number 7 from Counties is the next to go live on trackside. Time to go at 2:45. The Stamford Greeting Cards 2100. The Burlington Air Express Wind Movers, 3 Happy in Gold, opened at 475, is short to 395. 4 Spirited Advice opened at 750 and is now in a shade to 610. 13 New Model opened at 805, is out now to $10.60. Number 15 Passed In opened at 12.45, is out to 15.75. 5 Panui's Order opened at 9.55, stripped at a fraction to 10.95, and 14 D's Lass opened at 9.45, is out now to $10.50. Full market for race 7 at Counties. 1's out, 2 Zone Raider, 10.20, 3.20, 3 Happy in Gold, 3.95, 1.50. 4 Spirited Advice, 6.10, 2.50. 5 Panui's Order, 10.95 and 3.60. 6 and 7 are scratchings. We go to 8 Cutaway, 38.15, 10.80. 9 Fair Sister at 15.05, 4.95. 10 Mrs. Burton at 9 and 3.25. 11 Rollair, 24.85, 7.80. 12's out. 13 New Model, 10.60, 2.20. 14 D's Lass, 10.50, 3.65. 15 Passed In, 15.75 and 4.90. Overdue number 16 Prosaic, 16.35, 10. 17, 18, 19 are out. Number 20 Calm Heights, 13.65 and 4.65. Race 7 from Counties. The Stamford Greeting Cards 2100. Time to go at 2:45. It's in about 3 minutes time. Race 1 confirmed now from Christchurch. 2 China Maid took it out at $7.30 and 1.90. 1 Little Skite second, 1.25. 8 Supreme God third, $2.50. Cornella 1 and 2, $7.40. Trifecta 2, 1 and 8, $73.45. A look at race number 2, and that's the Otago Sprint. Time to go at 3 o'clock for the Class 3 and 4 greyhounds over 330 metres. Opening market, 1 Our Star, Dave Bush, 3.20, 90 cents only. 2 Rubomania, Bruce Dan, 4.95, 3.90. 3 Winston, Ray Adcock, 4.80, 1 even. 4 Riverland Prime, 10.85 and 6 for Dave and Vicky Kingston. 5 Ukulele Man for Gordon Kingston at 8.60, 2.85. Number 6 God's Jewel, Dave Bush the trainer, 9.35, 3.10. 7 Starker Jet, David Butts, 10.15 and 3.95. 8 Coaster Boy, Graham Barron, 10 and 3. 9 and 10 are out. The Otago Sprint time to go at 3 o'clock. The Strategic Investment, we're going for number 1 on top, Our Star, best draw for some time. Finally got box 1, put it on top, 50-cent trifectas. For second, 2 Rubomania, 3 Winston, and 6 God's Jewel. And we'll take the field for third. That'll put you in the running for a fairway, and that combination will cost you just $9. Well, we're off to Counties now. Race number 7 coming up from Pukekohe. Let's head up there and join George Simon.
Thanks, Mark. The Stamford Greeting Cards 2100 is the first leg of the double, third leg of today's TAB treble. As we head round to the start with the compliments of our DB Draft Racing Service. And just one or two people on course here have mentioned who was the cameraman in that item of the filming of the Great Northern Course, the DB Draft Steeplechase course. Cameraman was David Signal, who did a tremendous job as well under difficult circumstances, so well done, David. There's a favourite for the event, Happy and Gold, number 3, and to be ridden by Jim Collett. Now the horse has been granted permission, or Connections have been granted permission to take the blinkers off the horse because of the heavy nature of the track today, so the favourite will not race with the aid of blinkers today. $4 and $1.60 the money for the favourite Happy and Gold, and Keith, with Jim Collett aboard, would have to be hard to beat.
Well, Jimmy hasn't been hitting out too well so far today, but anyway, as you say, favourite at $4 with Jimmy aboard. It has the form, hasn't it? Won its last start, a 6 prior to that, a 3rd, 2 seconds and a win prior to that. So if he doesn't win this one, Jimmy will have to be starting to have a look at himself. But he's got a big lead in the Premiership and good on him. 100 wins under his belt.
So they start to load away for the 7th. Also well supported appears to be number 4, Spirited Advice, locally trained by Harvey Wadham, and Spirited Advice at $6.15 and $2.60 with David Peake aboard.
Well, we've spoken about the on-course, or the horses trained on the course before. We've talked about Percy Peake, so I suppose there's the combination. Horse trained here by Harvey Wadham with Davey Peake on the very heavy ground. Must be some hope. Just about ready to go.
Last couple of things about to go up. Their sister walks in. Prosaic will come up and take up the outside gate. These lads are drawn the inside.
Burton goes from the 2 gate. And from the 3, Zone Raider in the grey cap. Stablemate, Fair Sister, the red cap. Panui's Order just a little toey. The attendant alongside. And away they go, and a good start too. One of the first away on the inside is Dee's Last. Now New Model works up centre field, and going with it also now as they settle down, Spirited Advice. And Dee's Last the inside, under head on its chest now, Spirited Advice. New Model out 3 deep. Behind them then is Cut Away. Then Mrs. Burton pokes up along the inside. Dollars and Gold came next as they leave the straight. Then followed by Calm Heights, passed in as the next one. Then Panui's Order. Then followed back alongside of it now is Fair Sister, and then Roll Air. Prosaic is next, and last of all is Zone Raider. Out by the 1600 metre mark, and the leader is now taking over. Dee's Last just on the inside. Mrs. Burton, Spirit Advice up 3 wide with Cutaway poking between the 3. Then New Model in the clear. A length and a half then is Calm Heights. Passed in on the inside of Panui's Order, a length to Dollars and Gold. They're followed by next on the far side Fair Sister from Prosaic, and alongside of it next is Roll Air, and 2.5 last Zone Raider. About 12 covering them on the far side, about 1200 metres to go. Taking over Mrs. Burton now, led by a length and a half. Dee's Last dropped in for the trail. Out wider on the track then is Spirited Advice, a half to Cut Away. A length and a half. New Model still in the clear now from Panui's Order, then followed back by Passed In on the inside of Fair Sister. Giving some ground there is Calm Heights. Going forward now on the outside is Prosaic, and taking off from the rear Zone Raider. And last of all is Rose Air. Across the top, 800 metres to go. About 3 deep in the lead. Round on the inside, Panui's Order takes a lead with right there is Spirited Advice, and on the outside, Prosaic has loomed round wide. Cutaway is there as well. There's followed round by on the outside of the slot, Zone Raider, and coming into it, New Model also. Then is taking off his Dollars and Gold around them on the corner, and Passed In is under a heavy ride. Around the turn they come, 450 to go. And the leader is now Prosaic out in the centre of the track from Panui's Order. New Model coming down the outside late, and followed by Spirit Advice coming into it. At the 300 metres though, Prosaic from New Model, the danger on the outside. New Model and Prosaic, they get away 3 lengths on the tiring Spirited Advice, and Panui's Order only battling. About 150 to go. New Model, Prosaic sticking grimly on the inside. New Model from Prosaic though in the closing stages, lying third, Panui's Order from Spirited Advice, and New Model's going to hold on about a neck from Prosaic in second place. Third was Panui's Order ahead of Spirited Advice. A big gap back then was Zone Raider, followed home by Dee's Last. Alongside of it by they spread over 200 metres. Fair Sister was next with Cutaway, Calm Heights and Passed In, and well back was Dollars and Gold didn't yelp with Mrs. Burton, and Roll Air was last.
The call on race number 7 here at Counties today, and the winner number 13, New Model, in the hands of Gary Grills. and Adua struggle with number 16, Prosaic. And you'll find that New Model just over the final stages on the auto check replay is going to prove too strong. It really is very testing conditions out there today for both horse and rider. And over the final stages, New Model proves too strong, goes on to score by about a length at the end, ahead of number 16, Prosaic. And close for third between Panui's Order and Spirited Advice. I think Panui's Order just ahead of Spirited Advice for third. So it's the survival of the fittest out there at the moment, Keith, and all honours with Gary Grills and New Model on this occasion.
You're dead right. You've got to be fit to be a jockey. You've got to be fit to even call them. It's that hard to work today, Georgie. But there's Gary Grills, and he is a fit rider, and he just keeps New Model straight as a gun barrel, down the straight on the inside. Prosaic, the younger rider there, flat to the boards, and then out wide we had old Panui's Order. He looked like he was flat to the board in the goal, but he battled away to just take that third placing, I think. There's the call. Just headed it off, Spirited Advice. But no doubt the winner, New Model, and the Ngāpuis from Mangakaramia in the north will be celebrating this one, mate.
Number 13, New Model. In the hands of Gary Grills, a 4-year-old mare by Conquista Rose out of Boronic, owned by JB and J Morgan, trained by Norm Morgan up at Ruakaka. Gary Grills, the successful rider, paying about $11.05 on the tote when the tote closed. Wins by a length and a quarter. There was 5 lengths between second and third with the head back to fourth. 2:26.97 was the time. While we await the dividends on the event, let's have a look at the Otago Sprint Market, race number 2 from Christchurch today. The Greyhounds 1 Hour Star, $2.75 and $1.05. 2 Ruby Mania, $6.25 and $4.15. 3 Winston, $5.60 at $1.10. 4 Riverland Prime at $11.75 and $4.45. 5 Ukulele Man, $6.35 and $2.35. 6 God's Jewel, $10.10, $2.65. 7 Stucker Jet, $10.05, $3.30. And 8 Coaster Boy, $10.25, $2.80 the place. Scratch numbers 9 and 10. That event due to go at 3 o'clock. We'll be back with the result of race 7 here from Counties after the break.
100-metre marker, and Spirited Nazar, Rough Cut Lad and Vatican and Boy finishing pretty well down the outside. Vatican and Boy grabbing Spirited Nazar, Cedar Road.
Thrilling Day, Vito Dara, no room at the 150 now. Wise Lass just in front on the inside. Thrilling Day coming after it late. Wise Lass and Thrilling Day, she's got all right.
Mermaid and Gaboosh, Ketchikau, Whoopee on the insides coming back, but Ketchikau in front from Whoopee heading towards the wire, and it's Ketchikau has beaten Whoopee. Third Mermaid.
A winning tradition, Raoul Stud. The DB Draft Winter Carnival. 2 days of great entertainment at Ellerslie on Saturday the 3rd and Monday the 5th. With fun for the kids, live music, the DB Draft Clydesdales, great racing and great competitions with 10 $100 betting vouchers to be won. The feature races, the TV Guide Hurdles on Saturday and the DB Draft Steeplechase on Monday. Racing starts at 11:15. Be there for 2 great days at Ellerslie.
Gary Grills and New Model take out the first leg of the double, third leg of the TAB treble here at Counties today. Scoring from number 16, Prosaic, ridden by Liana Hawes, and some distance away in third position, number 4, Panui's Order. New Model paid $11.05 and $2.70. 16, Prosaic, $4.05. Number 5, Panui's Order, $3.20 the place. Quinella paid $85.40. The trifecta 13, 16 and 5, $1,834.95. TAB treble today, 17 Under Control, 4 Rich Repeat and 13 New Model, $3,968.65. Sub was number 3 Red Rolf in the second leg, and in the third leg number 3 Happy and Gold. Race 8, the Franklin Club Syndicate 1400. Number 1, The Jumper, Katie Donald, claims 3 at 9.45, 2.95. 2, Call Me Melody, Charlene Thompson, claiming 1.5 at 7.30 and 2.15. 3, Misdemeanor. I understand Tommy Nicol has injured a foot and he may not be riding Misdemeanor. We'll just confirm that with you. 11.05 and $3.25. 4, Musket Cove, Liana Hawes, claims 3 at 13.30 and $5.40. Take out 5. 6 is Brightside, Sarah Campbell, 14 and 4.45. 7, Broa Mardius, Linda Ballantyne, 9.85 and 3.15. 8 is Fancy Sandy. Shane Penny claiming 4.5 at $14.20 and $5.10. 9 is PGB. David Peake at 18 and $6.40. Number 10, Rob Stream. Kelly Hazelwood riding Rob Stream at $5.35 and $1.60. And number 11, Rosier. Jim Collett is the favourite at $2.90 and $1.10. The race due to go at 3:15 here from Counties. Race number 8, second leg of the double. And I can confirm that Tommy Nicol will not be riding Misdemeanor. Still a waiter rider there. I think he injured a foot earlier today and has been stood down from the rest of his engagement. So Tommy Nicol not riding Misdemeanor. We'll be back here at Counties just prior to a start in race 8. In the meantime, let's head back down to QE2 and Mark Rosanowski.
Thanks, George. Here at QE2 Park, we're not far away from race number 2 today. And joining me trackside is Bruce Dan. He's got a greyhound in this event called Rubomania. Comes out of box 2. Another couple of runners later in the card too. We'll talk about first, Bruce. You've got one in the South Island Champ qualifier today. Race number 6, Jed's World, comes out of box 2. He's in some rich company. Is he up to it?
Probably not up to the class of some of them, Mark. But if he can get out in front, he'll go pretty good. And he runs out of petrol a bit up the straight. But yeah, if he can get clear early, maybe a bit of trouble behind him.
His recent form has been extra good. What's brought about his change in attitude?
Oh, just a bit of time, I think, a bit of maturity. Showed me a lot as a young dog, but just never produced it on the track and was quite a heartbreaker. But yeah, he's pleased us no end of the season.
In race number 3 today, it's the first leg of today's Tabby Treble, and you've got a very smart sprinter coming back to the races called Calm Angel. How do you think she'll go fresh?
Well, she trialled very good last week. As good as she's ever gone, but she's up 1.5 k in weight, so it's been, I think, nearly 3 months since she had a toe operation, so she'll improve on whatever she does today anyway.
Over the 330 metres, 1.5 kilograms up in weight, does that really matter?
Probably not for her. She can probably carry it. She's quite a stocky, solid little dog, so yeah, hopefully we'll get a good run out of her.
And coming up in just a few minutes, it's Rubomania out of box number 2, and no luck with the last time falling over on the home bend. Has she come over that physically and mentally?
I don't think I'd even worried. I don't think she knew if she even fell over, Mark. She got home just a box of fluffy ducks and just gone on with it. She's good as gold. I expect a good run from her today. Yeah, on occasion she's shown plenty of speed, but she doesn't always go on with it. Hasn't had a season yet, and I think once she's had that season, she might come back just a little bit stronger.
And box number 2, who do you think are the toughest to beat today?
Actually, haven't had a look at the field, Mark, so I couldn't tell you.
Good way to be, probably. Yeah. Rubomania, definite chance. Coming out of box number 2 in race 2. Let's head around to the start now in association with the Eukanuba Greyhound Racing Service. Yes, race number 2, the Otago Sprint, class 3 and 4 greyhounds over 330 metres. And into the back straight, where they will start. And there is Rubomania, number 2, the check. The greyhound we've just been talking to Bruce about. $6.45 and $2.50 is the money. Last start fell over. Back on the May the 9th, was second early, chasing Doug's Chariot, got to the corner, got shouldered by a dog, slipped and went down. And not a good way to race, but Rubomania, when she stays on her feet, is quite speedy and must be a chance. 6.45 and 2.50, about 3 minutes to go till the race starts. The first today, taken out by China Maid, fast time, 19.44. It's a good time for the class 3 greyhounds, 19.44 seconds for China Maid, give you some indication of the track today. And shot there is number 5, Ukulele Man, $7.95 and $2.20 the money for that greyhound, trained by Gordon Kingston. And also in shot is 4, Riverland Prime, and that's Dave Kingston with Riverland Prime. And they got China Maid home in the first, Dave and Vicky Kingston. Calling the shots this afternoon, trackside, is Trevor Wilkes. Time to go upstairs and have a word with Trevor on race number 2. Trevor, the favourite, is number 1, Our Star, $2.70 and $1.50. Form's not great, but the box is good.
Yes, mate, the box is good. Box 1's always good in a sprint race, and Our Star, tends to use the rail pretty well. I didn't think it would be that short, $2.70, but I suppose the public thinking with the inside running, it'll be the hard one to beat. Actually, Mark, one I like in here for value is number 7, Starker Jet. I was most impressed with this this greyhound winning at QE2 2 starts ago, and even though it's out there in box 7, it's got a lot of early speed, and I think that's a good value bet.
Well, Starker Jet, number 7, $8.90 and $2.80, but the greyhound in picture, number 1, Our Star, last start, finished 3rd down at Invercargill when coming out of box 2. That was back on May the 15th. Let's have a look at that run.
Calico Boy in the outside, going up to those as China Maid, making ground. Our Star, the insider, E.T. Supreme, got shunted out a bit, being followed back behind those then 2 Ton Terriers last. And Calico when he goes back there with it, and so too Coaster Boy. Round the turn for home they come. China Made the outside, but giving plenty. Cool Cash on the inside. Cool Cash is doing better down at the post. Cool Cash, China Made.